If this is your first time tuning in, we need to introduce ourselves to you. My name is Candace, and this is my sexy husband.
Yo, Kappa Man.
Remon.
Oh, Remon.
We are the dynamic duo of the Couples Lounge Show. We do this every Saturday, well, we're supposed to, at 10 a.m. And so we are so glad that you have joined us because we're about to give you something to talk about because ain't nobody doing it like us.
Because they ain't us.
And so I hope you are ready to enjoy the show. Make sure you share our family members. You know how we get down. Share the video. Call somebody up and tell them they need to watch the Couples Lounge Show. We are an award-winning talk show at that. All right? So this show is brought to you by We Will Win LLC, where we help couples and individuals change their lives by tapping in to their life desires. And so you ready? So y'all, we watched this podcast, right? Had Tim Ross on there. I think his name is Jeremy Anderson. I hope I didn't mess up his last name. And it was pretty interesting.
Can you add them on the...
I probably could have added a picture, but we live now.
No,
we
present now. Them.
Like, add them. Okay, yes, I will add them. And they were on a podcast, Hardly Initiated. And so they were discussing some things that piqued our interest and kind of just made... I kind of had a few emotions, honestly, watching the show. Just some of the stuff that was said. But we're finna get into it. And so grab your boo, grab your homegirl, and let's have a conversation. So the first thing I want to discuss is the passport bros. So it was my first time hearing it too. If y'all don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you what it is. So passport bros. It is men who have chosen, black men, who have chosen to seek out foreign women, typically from other countries, for relationships. They believe Western women have been influenced by culture and society pressures to behave in a certain way. And that by seeking out foreign women, they can find a more authentic, fulfilling, and harmonious relationship. This is seen as a way to restore the natural balance between masculine and feminine energy, and to avoid the wickedness of Western women. That's what I found when I went to look up the passport boys. I'm going to ask you first, since you are a man.
Okay.
Give me your perspective. I'm going to keep my womanness to myself for the moment.
I get it to a certain extent, but I agree with the brothers on the show, Pastor Ross. I believe it's lazy, if you will. You have to leave the country to find a wife. You have to leave the country. I don't agree with it. I don't understand. I understand.
You say you get it though. How do you? What do you
understand
get about that?
their thought process, and they believe a lot of women in today's society over here, might be corrupted, if you will. Their mindset might be corrupted, if you will. I can buy that to a certain extent, but to think every woman is, and there's no good women here, you got to find a good wife outside. Yeah, no, you lost me. No.
For me, that was when I first watched it, I was out like, what? That, and I was like, okay,
I see you
Candace,
get
it together.
Lord, I knew it.
But for me, just reading this definition was to say that Western women has been influenced by culture and society's pressures.
I can feel that. I can see that.
It doesn't matter where you go. People have their culture. It's a way of being. It's a way of doing things. And so what I hear in this is you want somebody almost like to kind of, you just want them to do whatever you say. What I don't understand what the wickedness is about Western women. I don't understand that.
Well, I mean, it's simple.
Wicked?
Yeah, yes, wicked.
And so you telling me people in foreign countries cannot be wicked?
Lord knows they can. I think human beings, period, men and women, are just wicked today. Men and women. I'm not excluding men. I'm not saying that's just women. I'm saying human beings today. Wow.
It's a lot of people trying to do their own things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, that it was heartbreaking for me, and I too agree with Tim and Jeremy where it's just saying you don't want to put in the work. You rather go overseas, get somebody that has a language barrier,
right.
can't really understand what you saying,
right?
More times than not, and then you want to bring them back here. Like, what's the purpose? Just somebody to do whatever you say. I would love to talk to these men, whoever the passport bros are. I would love to have a real in-depth conversation with that mindset. The mindset that you have, that you feel like that you don't have it within you to find a woman, build with that woman.
Right.
And if you're such a good...
And show her or train her in the way, yes. Train her in the way that you want to be loved and treated. Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to... They're saying they can't do it here. They can't find a woman like that they can, build that type of bond to where build a relationship of how I want to be treated and loved, and
you don't want to put in the work,
right? Because Pastor Ross called him flat out lazy. He gets laziness. That's the vibe he was getting, and I totally agree.
And that whole restoring it back to masculine and feminine energy, it is Western women that know how to be feminine. But it is some also that you have to work with, you have to build with, you have to cultivate a softness because of what she has experienced. Right. But it don't matter where you go.
Right.
We've all had experiences.
Right. No man wants... if you could have it your way, I wouldn't want a woman that's been traumatized and had a rough life and
but if you're attracting those type of women to you, that says something about you. If that's what you are consistently attracting to you, that you feel like you cannot find a woman that hasn't been...
Every man wants a soft woman who hasn't had a hard life. If you had it your way,
but it's women out there.
Yes, I don't believe you have to go to
States.
Another country. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm saying if you had it your way, yeah, you would want a soft woman. I wouldn't want a woman that's hard and I got to break down those barriers. No, I wouldn't want that either. But in being honest, a lot of women come with that. Hell, a lot of men come with that, and women have to. But men and women are viewed differently going through things. As a man goes through stuff, he's had his war wounds. He's a better man for it. He's tough. He has endured.
Oh, you saying that's what society would say?
Right. Okay. As a woman, they would view her as scarred. Y'all are scarred, if you will, if you went through the same thing, or we are praised, if you will, because we've been through the fire. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I just think that's how a lot of people see it.
Okay, well, that's it for the passport bros. I just needed to have a little conversation about that because that just kind of, after my initial reaction, I kind of felt bad for them that you don't think enough of yourself or your capabilities, or as Mon said, like you just don't want to put in the work. You just want to basically say, I just want it easy. I want somebody that's just... did they say something about a Coming to America vibe? Yeah. Was that on there?
Yeah, I think one of them.
Yeah, so So I just wanted to address that. Y'all tell us what y'all think about the passport bros. Have y'all heard of them? What's y'all opinion? Do you get it?
Yeah, we're not live this Saturday. I have to go to a funeral Saturday morning, so we're pre-recorded this particular episode, this particular show.
Why you gotta tell the people that?
Because we might have new listeners. And they think, oh, I thought it was live. No, we're not live this week. We will be back live next week. So you want the people to know.
Okay. All right. So, I had a big awareness on this show about sexual compatibility.
Okay.
And it wasn't just that show, because I listened to a couple of other shows following those two gentlemen to be sexual compatible. And why I wanted to bring it up on this show, because I know sex in marriage is a big thing. And I'm going to share my own personal story eventually as we talk through this
story. What the hell? As
to how I have felt when it comes to sexual compatibility. So what a new awareness that I have had is, we may be sexually incompatible when you've had a different amount of sex partners. So if you're coming into a relationship and one person has had
80 people.
Oh my God.
Oh, I just threw out a number.
Okay, you slept with 80 people.
80 women.
And the woman has slept with
10.
5 or 10. Are you going to be sexually incompatible?
You can be, yeah, of course. I don't think that's automatic, no. But the chances are.
The chances are very likely.
Okay, I buy
that you will be. You've had so many different other experiences. You've had experiences. That's just like going into any job. You've been on the job for 50 years. I'm coming in a job with 5 or 10 years experience. Yeah, it's going to be some learning curves. It's going to be a difference there. And then we get married and we are condemning our spouses, or we have this certain type of way about our spouses because our sex drive is different and you're not giving it up and this, that, and the other. So you can be sexually incompatible. That's why God knew what he was talking about when he said we ought to go in no sex before marriage, because if you went in and both of us was virgins, we have nothing to compare it to. We get to create our own experience in the bedroom. And it just would make life so much easier and different.
Very different.
What is your opinion on sexual incompatibility for us that?
That makes sense. I don't believe that's the main reason why people are sexually incompatible. I believe some people just like what they like and don't like what they, have their dislikes, which you may not like, it's what I may like. My drive may be that much higher, or your drive may be.
We're going to talk about sex drives too.
That much higher than mine, which will make us uncompatible. If I pronounce that right.
Incompatible.
Yeah. So I believe, I ain't gonna say what I want to say, because what I want to say, Lord, I had to ask God to forgive me.
And
I'm gonna say it anyway.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it anyway. It's wrong to have sex before you get married. It is wrong. I hope my daughter never do it.
But you finna put a butt in there.
It's wrong. It's wrong. I'm saying it again, it's wrong. Don't have sex before you get married. It's wrong in the eyes of the Lord. It's wrong. And there's nothing I'll say after this that's neglecting that fact. But if you do have sex before you get married, you'll get to see if we're sexually compatible. Because if we wait till we get married and all of a sudden we have sex and you don't really enjoy sex, and I do, or I'm just too big and it's unpleasurable for you, or I'm just too little and it's not pleasurable to you. Now you can see, especially when you're younger, because if you're younger and if you're not compatible sexually, that will cause you to, did I say divorce?
Do you
Divorce,
think
because
that
some men could just be too little or too big, or my drive is just too low and yours is high, and you like this stuff and I don't, man. But we waited till we got married. And I know people say love conquers all, and because I love her, I love him, we would never get divorced. That to me is a total lie. There are people that have separated and divorced that loves that person that they married. It's just you're not ready for the type of relationship that comes with, that's being married. But I love you. I just know you're not ready and I can't do it. So I believe so. You're telling me everybody that gets a divorce, them people
oh,
don't
no,
feel
no, no,
that.
no, no, no. I definitely
So
no.
I understand. No, yes,
What?
the sinner in me understands the why a person would want to have sex with that person before they get married. I want to know. The sinner in me knows that. The godly man in me knows it's wrong to do.
Mm-hmm.
If that man, am I
Do you
making
think
sense?
that we put too much emphasis on sex?
No, not if you're young. When you're older, you don't. When you're older, you realize there's more to this relationship, more to having a person that you call your helpmate or your spouse or your man, your woman, than your sex life.
Mm-hmm.
Are they a good person? What's their credit score? What kind of money they making? Are they clean? Or do they have a spiritual or godly relationship with God? All of that comes into play when you're. But there's no getting around the physical desires. So I believe when you're young, the emphasis on sex is extremely high. And when you get older, and I think that's for reasons because typically the older you get, our equipment doesn't work. Men and women don't work the same. The women's body is not the same down there, and the man's body is not the same typically as we get older. So the emphasis on sex is not as high. But when you're in your 20s, man, you like jackrabbits. You 5 times, 6 days a week.
And I want to say this when it comes to sexual compatibility because I believe that is a big issue. One of the big issues that show up in marriages. Do not condemn your spouse if their sex drive is different than your sex drive.
Wait, I agree. But here's the problem I will have with my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying?
Mm-hmm.
Or you just saying, well, that's just who I am. That's just how I am, and not worrying about, and you're not concerned. I'm not concerned that my wife wants it, but I'm just, man, that's just how I am, man. I just got to know.
I
And
agree
if
with
that
you.
is the case, then yeah, I'm pointing the finger like, wait, hold on now.
And that causes us to again be on a team together and understand what's going on, baby, or talking, being truthful for what we are experiencing. Because what I do know is that even in marriages, people are not being honest with each other. When you're having difficulties down there, you're not communicating it. You rather just avoid. Whether it's the man and he realized like, dang, my man ain't, my penis is not getting up. He's not gonna communicate that to his wife. Is rather I just will avoid. I will try to avoid having sex. And
I think the problem is they're not saying it before marriage because, unfortunately, well, let me finish. Most of the time, people are having sex before they get married.
Okay.
And they're not, and they're lying, and they're putting on the front before, and then after I got married, now I can just be me.
What you mean the front?
Meaning, I'm having sex even though I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm doing this and that even though I don't want to. Now when I get mad, I no longer do it. We're married now.
Okay, so just you're forcing or making yourself do
or
it,
yeah,
and you
you're
don't
doing
really
it,
want to.
yeah. And then when you get married, you like, okay, well, I ain't.
Yeah,
got
I
to.
believe that could be a
I
case too.
I can see it. I had a conversation. Well, it was a group of guys actually. One brother said he has not had oral sex from his wife in 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't a problem at first because he was young, but he's like, I want it, and she's just not doing it, and like, well, you should get one. I ain't one of these garden tools that you done been with before, and it's
But she was doing it before they got married.
But it wasn't. Yeah. But like, wow, 3 years and you wanting it, and could you imagine wanting this? Unless it's something that's just disgusting and painful. 3 years of wanting something or act from your husband or your wife, and you're not getting it, and they're not even really caring.
But in that situation,
like, wow,
do we have permission to change what we might have enjoyed it? Just like you might enjoy certain things starting out sexually, but then you kind of outgrow it and you no longer. Yeah, even oral sex. Like the time I mentioned to you, I don't like when you do that. I don't like when you kiss my. I don't like that.
And I stopped.
Okay,
because I knew that's something my baby didn't like me kissing in her.
Okay, so if I have outgrown a piece of my sex life and I just choose I don't want to do that anymore.
Whoa, you gotta be careful what you outgrow, because if it here's what I mean by that when it comes to sexual. If it's strictly me and you, and we're not bringing no one in the bedroom, I'm not doing nothing, just sit there like, what the hell? Nothing like that. And all of a sudden you stop, let me hit it from the back. Yeah, I don't. That's just barbaric. I don't like that. But you got a big booty. You know I like that. And all of a sudden you just completely stop, and I can no longer get in. You got this big old booty, and I can't never hit it from that. You got to be careful with that. You can't just, because that's affecting me. So when you quit something that's affecting me, you don't think I should be consulted? I should have some kind of say so in the matter? I no longer want to do that. I'm not.
And I think it's the way you present it. That it goes with having a conversation. Like, babe, I no longer desire to do that.
It depends.
And then,
you're gonna have to come on.
You know. If that person I think that person has a right to say that, and then we communicate.
You have a right to feel that way. That don't mean. But if unless what's understood need not be explained. So if it's degrading, disgusting, and
that wife may start to feel like oral sex is degrading to her.
Yeah, that's stupid to me. Well, I shouldn't.
What the?
To each his own.
Exactly.
But I mean, come on.
I think that's communicating with your significant other.
And I can see if we. Well, no, I don't care what always. As a woman, in that instance, as a woman, because let me reverse it. Let me reverse it. Let's say she had the issue because he never did it in 3 years, and she desired. As a man, some brothers should tell him, say, bro, this is your wife. If you don't do it for no other person on this planet, you should be able to do that for her because she's desired it and it's pleasing to her. To a third, you've done it. And you know and she desired. So you're willing to let your husband or wife go in need in that department, and you're not quenching, you're not putting out that fire. You really want to do that?
This is my thing with that. So it don't matter, man or woman.
Yes.
I no longer desire to do that. Whatever my thought is about it.
And it could be anything.
that now becomes a unpleasurable experience that we are having together because
you're gonna learn.
I am disgusted by it, or I just do not desire it anymore. And I really want to be serious about this right now, is because I think there's other things that can be done. No one should feel like in having sexual pleasures with my spouse, I don't desire it because I know you request that of me, and I feel a certain way about that. It's not that I'm not still giving you love, intimacy. When I say love, sexual, I'm not giving you. You can still do whatever to my body. It's just this part that I no longer want to do, and I just believe that that is something that we can talk through. Yes, that we can come up with other things to do to where one person is not unhappy.
I don't think it's nothing you can do.
You can't, and it's not worth the divorce.
That never came my mind.
Your significant other.
I'm saying if that's something he wants, what in the world can she do to offset that? That's what I want.
But you are having my vaginal area. For me, that's just like an appetizer. That's just the extra.
Okay.
It ain't a part. It is not the main course, and I think
for you
we are having unnecessary.
For you, it ain't. Say that.
So this is what I would tell people that's dealing with that. Y'all need to go see a sex therapist. You need to go to a sex counselor, because that person that feels like, oh, I just got to have oral sex, you need to go figure out what that is really about, that you are willing to allow the disdain to take place in your marriage or the other person as to why you are no longer desiring it. Both needs to go see it. And this is another thing.
But she's the one with the issue.
No, she's not. Or he's not. Whoever it is that is having a change of mind. If they had a change of mind that is no longer pleasurable to them, and they see it a totally different way.
He never stated that she
but
said
it's a reason that she no longer wants to do it.
Absolutely.
Whatever the case, or like you said, maybe she never did want to do it, but she was doing it beforehand. And something that it was a growth moment for me. I can remember when we first started this show and we had a conversation about porn. And I said it was not a big deal to me. And at that time, it was not a big deal to me that my husband watched porn. But now that I am learning how porn rewires your brain, how people that may say they have this high sex drive, its impact on a marriage, my eyes have been open to that. And how I see it now is impacting your marriage. If you somebody that watch porn or you watch it all day, and I don't know the level in which it was happening, but if you're constantly stimulating yourself and you're constantly watching sex every day, all day, you're going to want to have sex all the time, and so your sex drive is actually going to switch. You're going to have a high sex drive because you watch porn all the time. And so to find that research shows that porn is rewiring your brain, I was like, oh my God.
How's it rewiring?
It's saying how just watching sex, it's like a dopamine, it's like a drug.
Okay.
So it's just like you taking an actual drug.
Oh wow.
And it is messing with your brain because you're getting off and you're having some type of not like actually getting off, but you're doing that too.
Well, yeah,
but you're having a certain type of feeling while you are, it's an adrenaline and the dopamines and all of that you're constantly doing to your body. And so it's like a drug. And I'm like, oh my God. And then you're watching it and the porn is scripted. These are actors. And like they're probably on drugs and are drinking. And so, yeah, they're able to take things and do things that in the average scheme of things that you're not able to do, but you're bringing what you're watching back to your bedroom. And expecting your spouse to do it, and then when they don't want to do it, it's a problem. And it's just like, oh my God, like I had all of these like aha moments. But it's like better late than never. Good to understand it, good to know it now, because, even with us still working with couples or whatever the case may be, it's unhealthy for your marriage. And men, more times than not, are learning about sex through porn. So then
only men? You girls?
Most girls, I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna speak for me. I wasn't watching porn in high school.
Hold on. Today is totally
I'm not talking about no 20-year-olds. I'm talking about the people that watch our shows.
I'm talking about today. Period. Girls they have cell phones. So when we grew up, you had the VH tapes. You had to sneak and do it. So it's totally different now. To think girls are not learning about sex through porn, it's not accurate.
No, I'm talking about women. I'm not talking about girls right now. I'm talking about women, men.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying women our age, like boys, men that are your age, learned about sex at that time through porn.
Okay.
Because y'all was watching porn when y'all were younger.
Okay.
As a woman my age, as a girl at that time, girls were not watching it like that.
No, I agree.
And
I believe that's probably true.
I just want y'all to understand the impact that it is. And women used to say it all the time, like, Candace, you ain't got no problem with that. And I couldn't understand why women did have a problem with that.
First of all.
But I get it. I get it now.
First of all, yes, it's something I've watched, but it wasn't something that was daily, several times. It wasn't like I had an issue. So, and the same women who said that, the only difference between them and us, I was honest about it.
My spouse was honest. They had a problem with it.
Right. So therefore they had to lie and sneak and do it now.
Porn is not healthy for your relationship.
Why is it? Okay.
It's not healthy for your relationship because you're bringing them tricks and all that kind of stuff into your marriage, and then when your spouse doesn't want to do it, now you got a problem with your spouse and they not freaky enough, so now your spouse ain't doing it, so now you want to go out into the world and find somebody else that's doing it instead of finding a synergy right here between you all versus using that to get off or whatever you are doing. And so I ended up, I didn't want to spend this money. You all are tuned in to the Couples Lounge Show. I'm your girl, Candace, if you're just tuning in. And this is my sexy husband, Remon. And we are the dynamic duo of the show. And we was able to watch a podcast. And we're just coming here today to kind of discuss some things that resonated with us on the podcast. And so I think I didn't want to spend that much time on the sexual thing, but I know sex is a big deal. And if you want to go research what porn does to your brain. Go research that. Definitely for all of y'all that don't feel like nothing is wrong with it. Definitely those that are married, even if you're intention and plan to get married, go look it up. I don't want to stay on it no longer. What you got to say? You got to find old things.
No, I mean I can understand. I can see how it could be a problem. Mm-hmm. I could see how it may enhance it. So I could see both ways. But then if you want to get spiritual, and if you want to say no, it's just wrong. I won't argue. I totally agree. But I mean, we do a lot of things that are wrong. But if your spouse has an issue with it, and especially if you have an addiction, I think that goes without saying. But I don't believe everybody that watch porn has an addiction.
And I don't even think it has to be an addiction. If you watch it
once a month,
people ain't watching no people that watch porn. You ain't watching porn once a month. Don't Don't. If you watch porn, you are not watching it once a month.
Everybody, you can watch it and not be into it like that. So yeah, like man, I don't,
So what you watching it for if you're not into it?
Like some people just don't watch it like that. Some people do. Some people watch it for different reasons, for various reasons.
I want this will be my last point about the sexual incompatibility. There's a lot of things that happen that causes one to have what we would call a low sex drive or not have a desire for sex. And so it is really important for couples to be talking about it. And I would tell you, I just screenshot because I wanted to know like what really is a high sex drive. What does that really mean? And so
it's common sense.
What is a high sex drive?
You have the desire to have sex.
Like how does that look though?
It's
like all day long you thinking about having sex?
No, I don't.
What's a high sex drive?
To each his own. What you may consider a high sex drive, the next couple, oh boy, that ain't nothing.
How would that look? How does a high sex drive look?
Like exactly what I said.
Okay, so I'm gonna read what it says. The signs of a high sex drive. A high sex drive is generally characterized by how often you show an interest in sex and experience desire, but it doesn't necessarily reflect how often you engage in sexual activity. Having a high sex drive looks different to different people. And so some of the common signs of a high sex drive are having regular sexual thoughts and feelings, feeling turned on often, feeling connected with your sexual identity and your body, sexual confidence, and sex positive attitude. Now, oh man, I thought I screenshotted the other thing. So I'll just tell you this. One thing that is going to affect high sex drive or a sex drive is hormones. And I know we've talked about it on here. Stress, also your I just stick with those two, stress and hormones, because I think those will be the two that are relevant in a relationship. That's why we want to be this to be good as much as possible, because if we got a lot of stress here, I'm not gonna want to have sex with you.
Because some people
will push through it and still just let their body be there.
That's true too. Some people don't have a problem with having sex when they're mad. So every couple that's true. Some people, some men, some women, just because we're mad, that don't mean that my desire went away.
Right. That's true too.
And some, if we're mad, Negro, don't touch me.
Right. And our body knows. Like, sometimes we can even push through, we can be there, but our body okay. I was about to say not from a sexual perspective, but I could be about to do something and I ain't even nervous, but my body just starts going. That time we got ready to speak at the church.
No.
When I spoke at the church.
Oh, when you spoke.
Yeah. And I did not feel nervous at all. But when I tell you my mouth, right before I got ready to speak, my mouth got dry. It was like my body just took on its own mindset. So your body knows. So I would just say, if sex is an issue, y'all sit down and have a conversation, not full of anger, not like that, but have a for real conversation so y'all can get an understanding. So that conversation lasted way longer than what I would have desired, but it is what it is. So I asked you something. Oh, I'm gonna go this way. I don't know which way to go. When it came to the men, I asked you what was the difference that you felt like between Jeremy and Pastor Tim and other men that are that have a different mindset than they had. What did you see the difference was? Between
the guest and the host?
No. Remember we ended just talking about marriage. Just in general.
So what are you asking me now?
What do you see? What was different about those two guys on the show when it came to their mindset about marriage, about sex, about manhood?
They spoke from a godly perspective. A a spiritual perspective, and almost, not even gonna say everything, but a lot of what they talked about or what they was discussing seeming to be led from a godly perspective. And when you speaking to people in general, unfortunately, more people you come across everywhere, in my humble opinion, I don't believe majority of the people you interact with speak from a godly perspective. Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to be around more people, but just in general, those guys were speaking from that perspective, in my opinion.
Did what was the difference that you? Let me say, did you feel a difference when talking to the average guys that you talk to?
Yes. That's like I said. If you speaking to someone from a godly perspective and a godly mindset, you hear the difference, you feel the difference, you see that you can tell. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So what, based on what you heard them saying, what do you feel like more husbands should be doing to create the type of synergy that maybe they are experiencing in their marriages?
Get a better relationship with God, have a oneness, a deeper connection with Him. The closer your relationship with God, the more sensitive you become to sin. Mm-hmm. The further away you get from Him, the more that the average wrongdoing, that ain't nothing. You want to rob a bank out, man. So you need the money anyway. And I'm just using that as an example, but so yeah, have a oneness, seek and truly desire and seek that relationship with Him. And when you have that, you will think differently, you will act differently, you will speak differently.
Absolutely. And I love their transparency because they were able to state what their past looked like. But now I have a different perspective. I have a different mindset. I have a relationship with God. And and this is for everybody, but definitely for husbands or people that are interested in being husbands. Even if your wife don't, because you are the leader of the house, you have to have a different, you in relation, God gotta be like this. Y'all gotta be like this, or you gotta be moving intentionally with a relationship like this with God, because your mindset is differently. It's different. Your actions are different. Everything becomes different about you when you really have that relationship. And because you are the leader and everybody is supposed to be following you, the crazy thing for me was like, but you got more women in church, mm-hmm. and not men, but the men are the leaders, but they have no guidance or they have no relationship with God. And it's just, I'm like, God dang it, why is that imbalanced like that? When he really needs to be there.
Don't, just because you women in church, don't equate that to they have a relationship with God. People go to church all the time and don't have a relationship with God. But the key thing is to go. But I think it would be foolish to, just because a person goes to church, that they have that relationship with God. I could be completely off base with this. I believe there is a lot of people that are going to church that don't have that relationship that they should. You think more people in church, the majority of the people in church got that relationship with God?
I would say this. I believe
there's a lot of drama and mess in church.
I believe the people that are in church have an intentionality about having. They may not be doing it perfectly, but they have a desire there. They're showing up versus somebody that is at home that don't choose to go. Show up. That you and not to say even those people, because sometimes those people, they may not be in church like that, but they really have a relationship with God, a spiritual relationship. Right. But God says, come to the church, be in fellowship with other believers. That is what we are called to do. And if you're not doing that, it's impacting your walk with him. It just is. And so that was just that a thought that I had, that the lack of men seek that seek God, but you definitely husbands are needing to be there. And so we got one more point to talk about. Men that are scared to get married. Men that are scared to get married.
What about it?
Your thought. What would you say to a man that was reluctant, scared, whatever? Because I know you know some people that has been shying away from it, have their reservations about it. As a married man, what would you say?
Don't be. I think I. It's nothing to be afraid of if you got the right one. If you got a good woman, there's nothing to be afraid of. I think you should be afraid when you could marrying the wrong one, um, or seeking the wrong one. But if you got you got a good woman, there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. She would enhance your life. Um, so I believe with the divorce rates and how courts are structured to pretty much take everything, take half, and leave you in a horrible situation if the marriage is unsuccessful, makes men afraid. Like,
is that why you think most men don't want to be married? Is because they are already thinking about divorce?
Or what could, yes, because unfortunately everybody don't get married for the right reasons. And sometimes you don't find that out until after the marriage, and then you like, whoa. Unfortunately, I believe that's true. But if you marry a good one, and there's nothing to be afraid of, as well as marrying a good one, and you're living as a husband should, then there's nothing to be afraid of.
Okay. And I would say, in my mind, I didn't think divorce was the reason that most men don't want to get married.
Because they're losing everything. I'm losing my home. Now I don't have a home. You got my house. And I had the house before you. Now I no longer have a house.
Well, I want to talk.
You get my retirement. You getting this. You getting that. Now I like, God, dog, she's getting all this. Like, what in the world? Yes, that will make some men hesitant.
For that man that is not married and you're already thinking negatively about marriage, that is a horrible way to go into. And you probably do need to stay single. If your mindset is already negative before you even go into your marriage, if you go into a marriage with that, you will be living from that place. You will live from that place, and it will show up. That energy will show up in your marriage. I'm just going to tell you that. So you got to deal with whatever that is within you, because that's about you. That ain't even about no other woman, because you ain't even got with a woman to even say, I'm worried about her taking this. So that is something within you. That's a mindset that you hold and you have that you need to work through.
What they saying also making people, making some men, is because what they're seeing and how marriages are playing out in front of them today.
But there are successful marriages that are playing out.
More marriages are ending in divorce than.
I wouldn't say more marriages are ending in divorce.
Well, that's not what. Okay, well, statistically saying, if you get married, there's a great chance that you're going to get a divorce. A great chance. If you go off the statistics, they're not my opinion. If you go off the just raw data, that's what that says. It does not say
more people are getting divorced than people that are staying married.
I said you have a great chance. Well, if there's 10 marriages, if you look at the data, 5 of them or be successful, 4 may end in divorce.
So why focus on the ones that are ending in divorce and not the ones that are successful?
I believe
Focus
because
on the ones
tragedy,
that
because tragedy will catch your eye more than success. It stands out more. That's the reason why if it was a car wreck on the road, people are just stopping. And you got the traffic jam. More people want to see the train wreck than they want to see you succeed, which is terrible in itself.
I guess that's the state of the world, or the mindset of us as people. And so I would say this for the men, because my thought would have been the number one reason men don't want to get divorced, and maybe this is just a younger men. They're concerned about not having. They have to give up the ability to have sex with a lot of people, multiple people, whenever they want to. They have to give that up. And I won't even say young people, because I believe it's still some 30-year-olds that think like that. There's still some 40-year-old men that think like that, that I'm not ready to give up that lifestyle. And so this is what I want to add to what Mon just said about marriage. The value of finding a woman that you can build with, that you can build generational wealth with, that you can build an empire with, that this woman gonna push you to your greatest self, or your greatest potential, and you have the ability to push her. You have somebody that you can work out all your intricacies with. When I say that stuff that you don't tell nobody, you got that one person that you can, as I use the term, throw up on, vomit on in words, and open your heart. You have this one person that you don't have to carry everything with, because she's by your side. You got someone to build a family with, to travel and experience all that God has in this world with. It's so much more valuable than giving your body to a multiple women and putting that much of a value on sex and having new pee. And as they said on that show, it ain't new once you done had it. It's now old. And so you just keep on. And that just to be intimately connected to somebody like that. The Bible is very clear. I don't know if y'all realize it, but sexual immorality is spoken about so much in the Bible. So much. And it should be looked at as horrible, not only for women, but for men as well. Because every experience you have with another woman is causing you to think a certain way about a woman. And then you bring that energy to the wife that you end up committing to all these thoughts, all these experiences. Like, we called somebody the other day, we was talking, had a question for him, and his response was, if you freaky like that with me, what does that say about you? And that's from past experiences. I know how that freak got down. I know how she was. Oh, and you doing that too? And so we're bringing all of that into our marriage relationships. And so I would say this, that being married, God created it for a reason, because it's a beautiful thing. And so whatever reason that you have in your mind that you are reluctant, take some time and dig within yourself and work that out, because you don't want to take that into your marriage. But having literally a ride or die, where y'all are on team, you don't have to worry about no divorce. If y'all be on the same team with each other, and willing to work through your stuff together, and not attack each other, but attack the problems that y'all come up with. And so, yeah, that's what I had to say about that.
What was your thought about when they were saying you can see your partner or your spouse physically naked, but not, what did they say?
Another valuable tool.
Emotionally naked.
Yeah. That
I'm shocked that you didn't go there. I'm shocked that you went to the Men don't want to be mad instead of that one. That was more relevant
And
than that.
that is powerful too. That we gotta be able to go there. But it is so many marriages. I won't even say, because I don't know the number on that. But I would say this: we wear a mask in the world, and sometimes we wear a mask in our marriages, to where we won't even let our spouse know what's in our heart, the emotions we feel. And I would say women do it too, definitely when they don't feel secure with their husband, or they feel like what I'm going to use is going to be used against me, or he just have proven himself not to be trustworthy, or she just isn't used to opening up like that. And men, if you can't be naked with your wife, y'all really need to be, because we actually have our girlfriends that we can be emotionally open and naked with, even when we don't feel like we can be it with y'all in the moment. We have a app or a source that we can do it with. But this right here, if you can see my body and you can expose your body to me, be willing to expose your heart to me. Be willing to talk to me about what you're going through. You show me your external, why not show me your internal? Why is it a reluctancy for men to be emotionally naked with their wife?
I think it's. So you just putting it on.
And I'm asking you because I know men do not normally open up about their emotions. It's not, and that's not all men, because I know some men have gotten to the point of they've done their work and they good and they're able to do it, or they was raised in a house where being open about their emotions, it's okay. They learned that it was okay. But for the wife that doesn't understand why her husband won't get naked with her,
I believe it's either trauma or just the way he was raised to where men don't do that. He's seen it, heard it, or done it, and it was used against him.
mm-hmm.
Therefore, he's not doing it again.
But how do you get to a place where you are that with your wife? What needs to happen?
If you're unable to do it on your own, get coaching. If you're unable to do it and you just cannot, no matter what, no matter how your wife comes to you and assures you that you can and you just can't do it, that's somebody that would have to get coaching to open up.
And that's one thing that I love a lot of stuff about coaching clients and couples. But to hear one of them say, "I didn't know that," because somebody opened up. Definitely when a man opened up and the woman says, "I didn't know that," and now she has a different perspective. Now she can see things. She has a better understanding. She can be empathetic. She can be understanding, or vice versa. And so, go ahead.
What you mean? Go ahead.
I was just clicking on stuff. And
I was just going. So it's just on there while we was discussing. But did you want me to speak on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have a spiritual marriage retreat, October 6th through the 8th in Granbury, Texas. It's a bread and breakfast, I believe. Ain't that technically what it is? Man, it is absolutely beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. October 6th through the 8th. If you're wanting a oil change, a tune up, if you will. If you say, man, our marriage is actually good, great. This is just a tune up. If you're saying, yeah, we might could use a little work, this is a great occasion to come. A marriage retreat with like minded folks who tightening up on their marriage or trying to improve on their marriage or just enjoying their marriage and want to be around other married people with the same mindset. October 6th through the 8th. I think we have 2 or 3 more available slots. They're all filling up fast. So please don't wait till hey man, y'all got any? No, bro, they gone. And I get it because I already know what's happening. It's October. They're not thinking about it right now because no, technically it's July.
Yeah.
And I get it. You're on your summer trips.
But you want to go on and pay it. You can make payment plans. Right. Don't wait to try to pay it all up front. Some people just not
thinking about it because they're chilling right now. Oh man, that's October. Hey, it's only 3 more available. They're snatching them up.
Yeah. And it's got to be paid off in September. It's happening in October, but we know we got to pay it off ahead of time. So, yes, you can go to www.spiritualmarriageretreat.com. It's going to give you all the information. And so, I guess what's your somebody should have told me moment?
Somebody should have told me moment. For this particular
this was a variety show.
Yeah, so I mean that's I don't know. Tell me yours.
I would think my my takeaway from this show, or what I would desire for you all to take away, is everything that I tried to hit on or we discuss really boils down to, when you're in a marriage, the more that you are a team, the easier the journey is. Even when we're talking about sex, if we're not on the same page, let's talk about the problem. Let's not attack each other. Let's not be throwing hot ones. Let's not try to be funny. Let's not trying to dig. Really, this is the problem that we are dealing with, babe. Let's strategize. How we gonna do it? Whether it's having the relationship with God. I think that kind of goes hand in hand, because a woman is designed. Any one of them can be designed that their spouse have a relationship with God. Have conversations and talk and remain a team. That will be my takeaway, is that you got to understand, if we're going to do this for life, we got to do it together. And nobody can abandon and jump ship in the relationship on any topic or the relationship period.
That'll be well said. That's the takeaway right there.
All right, thank y'all for tuning in. We will be back live on next week, prayerfully. And so you all enjoy your Saturday. If you're interested in coaching, get at us. If you're interested in the marriage retreat, you can always DM us if you have questions. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe to all of our channels: Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We would love for you to join the family if you are not, and make sure that you tell somebody about the Couples Lounge show. We're out. Bye-bye.